Meteorologist Matthew East here with you. This is the Wednesday, December the 2nd edition of the Carolina Weather Video. A whole lot to talk about. Big storm system moving through today. Another system over the weekend that, of course, is drawing some interest, and some cold air coming as well. We'll talk about all that here. Let's get into, first of all, our system today. So look at the radar just about 5:30 this morning across the southeastern part of the country. Lots of rain lifting on up through this region, and at the time I was cutting this video, again early this morning, had some big thunderstorms moving through South Alabama into the Florida Panhandle. It's been some big storms moved through Mobile and Baldwin counties, and at the time, again, I'm cutting this video, that was moving into the Florida Panhandle. You had a tornado watch box in effect down that way, and a good chunk of the Piedmont of North Carolina under a flash flood watch today into tonight for this system pulling through. So we're going to have to watch the flash flooding potential. We will also have to keep an eye on the severe weather potential. That's the day one convective outlook. And notice that slight risk area roughly along into the south and east of Interstate 85, points from I-85 south and east from there. That's in the slight risk area. And we'll have to see how far that unstable air can penetrate into the Carolinas, as it is a very dynamic system moving in. Look at some of the parameters here. This is up at 500 millibars. A very, very healthy 500 millibar disturbance swinging into the region. You also have up in the upper levels 300 millibar jet streak cruising through the southeast, really enhancing the lift. And this is going to be a pretty potent system moving on through. And also finally at 850 millibars, you have a low-level jet that is just cranking here across our region. This is valid 7 o'clock this evening, and that is a really powerful low-level jet moving on through. So let's see what the GFS, this is the 0Z run, see what it prints out for the surface features here, as well as 850 millibar temperatures. That's the color line you see at the surface here. You have a lot of rain moving through as we go through this afternoon and into this evening. Now the GFS sort of shuts things down by early evening. Other modeling a little slower with it. I think the general idea here is we'll see rain at times today into this evening. Some thunderstorms becoming increasingly likely, say from late this afternoon into the evening. Now earlier along the coast, but for the Piedmont, say from late afternoon into the evening, thunderstorms increasingly likely, and we'll have to watch for some damaging winds, maybe small tornadoes, especially from I-85 eastward, and really the highest risk is I-95 eastward. So that'll be something we have to closely monitor as we go through this afternoon and this evening. Now the other threat is rain. This is the HBC's 1 to 2 day QPF, or the quantitative precipitation forecast there. And again, this looks like a solid 1 to 2 inch rainfall with locally higher amounts. Now we get into the day tomorrow. Looks pretty quiet, probably highs upper 50s in most spots tomorrow. A little breezy, especially tomorrow morning. Friday still quiet but cooler, low to mid 50s on Friday, and then the stage is set for the weekend. Here's what the GFS does. Again, this is the 0Z run. 7 o'clock Saturday morning. Precipitation moving into the region, and that's 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Pretty good area of precip across the region indicated by this run of the GFS, and it finally begins to pull out late in the day Saturday. All right, let's look at what's going on with this system. Up at 500 millibars off the GFS, the main triggering mechanism for that weekend system on Saturday is this disturbance up at 500 millibars. You notice a nice trough showing up there with this disturbance. Now that's the GFS. Let's compare that to the European, and it's very similar. In fact, if anything, the disturbance a little stronger on the European. So there is some decent model agreement that there'll be a pretty good disturbance move through. Now, let me say this. If the energy can consolidate into that disturbance, we have a storm system Saturday. If it stays strung out and can't really consolidate, we probably don't end up with much Saturday. And this is the type of thing the models are going to have a tough time resolving. But it looks like we will see some sort of storm system trying to move through Saturday. Now, let me show you this in terms of what precipitation type we see. This is the Buffett sounding. This is just a look at the atmospheric profile from the surface on up toward the top of the column there, and this is off of the GFS model. This one is valid for Greensboro, and this is valid at 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. The red line is the temperature, the green line is the dew point. And what you're looking at here, and I know that if you haven't ever seen this before, this looks a little strange, but right here, this is the freezing line. Right there. I drew that pretty poorly, but you get the idea. That's the freezing line. So on the Greensboro sounding off the GFS, you're looking at pretty much the entire column, except for the very, very lowest level, is below freezing. And that's when precip is falling. So that is a snow sounding for Greensboro at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Compare that to Charlotte. Notice it's a little warmer. Again, there's Greensboro. Notice a little warmer for Charlotte. And so it's right on the edge of a rain snow sounding there for Charlotte. So taken verbatim, that is some accumulating snow on the 0-0 to the GFS for Greensboro. Not much until the tail end for Charlotte. It's just a little bit warmer. So I do think we will continue to monitor. We'll have to continue to watch this system on Saturday. Could certainly be some wet snow involved somewhere. Accumulating snow. Don't know. The ground's pretty warm, and you'd have to get really everything to line up correctly with the cold air getting over the mountains and the precip holding on the right amount of time. But I do think the potential is there for at least some wet snow, at least in the air, somewhere across the western Piedmont of North Carolina on Saturday. So we'll have to continue to watch that, and of course that's certainly interesting to see. If nothing else, it would be neat to see some flakes in the air this time of year. All right, beyond that, some cold air. This is Sunday. This is Arctic air that's plunging into the eastern part of the country, or at least the closest thing to Arctic air we've seen thus far this season. That's Sunday. That is Monday. Finally out to Tuesday and Wednesday is when we see our next system begin to move in on the GFS. And that's going to be a cold air mass Sunday and Monday. We're probably talking low 40s for highs, lows Sunday, Monday, Tuesday morning, likely well down into the 20s in many Piedmont spots. So it looks like a pretty cold shot of air coming as we get deeper into the weekend and early next week. And of course that system Saturday to watch as well. All right, that's it. A lot to talk about, a lot to follow in the weather here. Interesting times if you enjoy the weather. Thank you for watching today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Have a great Wednesday, and God bless.